Bank, but it did go back up. So I don't know, again, if it's relation to the angle, maybe people were interested to find out, who did it or not. But they at least have something else they can play with him. And like you said, there's a lot of big men on Raw, so I don't know if all these guys, like if you've got a Strowman and Samoa Joe, and now you've got a big cast as all heels on the show as big men, maybe one of them has to shift over to SmackDown at some point or whatever. I mean, I assume that in the near future they're just going to do a big Cass versus Enzo thing, and Cass will probably beat him in like 2 minutes, and that's if that.
Probably the end of Enzo's an in-ring guy, I would assume. Unless, I think Jericho was saying they should send Enzo to 205 Live.
He did say that.
How many beers do you think he was deep on tour? Because I think it's a terrible idea. So, I mean, we skipped it. We talked a little bit about Raw. I kind of want to take a step back and talk about Money in the Bank because I thought it was a very interesting pay-per-view. That was the SmackDown brand Money in the Bank. We had talked about it last week at that point where there were 5 matches on. And I think, didn't we call the Hype Bros versus the Colognes? I'm pretty sure we nailed that without them even announcing it.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. So we'll just quickly go through this. The Hype Bros and the Colognes got almost damn near 10 minutes, which is longer than some of the matches on the card. And I thought that was a really good match. Did you catch that one? Did you watch pre-show or no?
I did not see the pre-show.
It was a good match. Talk about it. I mean, the first ever women's Money in the Bank, which I think I said was going to open the show too. I think that was the right move. Carmella defeated Charlotte, Natalya, Tamina, and Becky Lynch. Charlotte. Who'd you pick? Did you pick?
I thought Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. Who did I say? Did I say Charlotte?
You had Becky.
I suck at this. Carmella won with the help of James Ellsworth. We now found out on SmackDown they're going to do a rematch. But did you have an issue with the finish?
It wasn't what I would have done. I'll say that.
I don't think anything on this card is what we would have done. To be fair,
I think that it would have been better if somebody just won the briefcase. In a clean fashion, whether that was Carmella or anybody else, it doesn't really matter. But I wouldn't have had Ellsworth actually physically grab the briefcase and take it down. If you wanted to have him interfere, you could have had it just where, maybe Becky was about to grab it, he tips the ladder over, and then maybe Carmella goes up and gets it. At least you could say at least you could say that then Carmella went and grabbed the briefcase, and Ellsworth still caused factored into the outcome.
He dipped the ladder and Becky was on it, right?
He did, yeah. And then he went up himself and grabbed the briefcase and tossed it to Carmella. So I would have just left that part out and let Carmella get it herself, and then you still could have had the same.
Everything else would have been the same
that they ran. Yeah, they could have, on SmackDown and just been like, hey, Ellsworth interfered. He shouldn't have been there. It's ridiculous. Carmella won the briefcase, and then they ended up obviously deciding on SmackDown that they're going to do another Money in the Bank ladder match for the women next week on Tuesday night. Carmella had to give the briefcase back, and Ellsworth is now banned from ringside for the match. So that's the part I think I would have changed about it. I thought that was a little bit hokey, I guess you could say. But, the match itself was going along okay, I think, up until that point. It wasn't like a super classic or anything, but it wasn't bad.
No, I thought it was a good match, and they actually had me buying into each different woman grabbing the briefcase. So that was good. I also liked how Charlotte hit a twisted bliss to the outside. That was a nice spot, and I thought the match was really good up until the end. Next was New Day versus the Usos. Really good tag match. I mean, the Usos have been turning it on lately for sure. The New Day, you kind of forget that they're as good in the ring as they are because they're coming out with ice cream trucks and all that other BS. But this was a really good match. There was maybe 1 or 2 spots back-to-back that were a little tough. I think Big E was supposed to catch Jey Uso, and then somebody was supposed to break up a pin, and they missed it, and it was kind of a 3 count. But aside from those 2 spots, that match picked up really, really good down the end, and the New Day got the win the Usos, they did the chicken S heel, and they took their ball and they ran with it, and they got the count out. Which it stinks to have 2. Maybe it's the placement of the matches, but I wouldn't have had 2 matches and shystily back to back. But I thought aside from that, the actual in ring work was pretty good in that match.
Yeah, I thought they worked out pretty well too. Like you said, there was the one spot I think where Big E was going to catch one of the Usos, and they kind of just, I don't know if it was mistimed or whatever it was, but he had to drop.
It's a tough spot. He had to catch him over his shoulder and carry him.
Yeah,
forward.
He was going for the splash, I think, right? And then he was going to try to catch him in the middle and then power slam him
with the Big E. No, he's supposed to catch him with the Big E, I think, right?
Big ending.
Big ending.
Yeah. The pinfall breakup I thought it was really closely timed. They probably waited a little too long for it, but I thought it was well done enough where it was just a really close finish. Nothing too bad there. Like you said, the count-out finish I think is not a bad call. It's just that like after doing the first match the way that they did with that finish, and then this one, it was just kind of tough to see those things back to back. But other than that, I mean, I don't have a problem with them extending the feud out longer. I wouldn't have had the New Day win the titles the first time out. So
I wouldn't have the New Day win the titles at all. Period. But that's just me. Next was Naomi versus Lana. Lana, she still go by the Ravishing Russian,
I believe.
Yeah, this match really wasn't that good. JBL was giving me the hard sell on commentary, saying Lana's better in the ring than we thought. Lana's better. Shut up! Like, you're making me dislike the match because of how good you're telling me Lana is, and her in ring work was okay. I mean, I would say it was still below average considering all the women you have on that show. And I think you have a match with, top women in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and you see Lana work, and it's like, oh, well, she really didn't deserve the title match. And, I mean, Naomi only won because Lana got distracted by Carmella. I think if you're Naomi, you're a dominant champion, and you kind of, you made fun of Lana, and you knocked her ability in the ring, and then that's how you win. I don't know. I think you should have seen a stronger victory from Naomi if they wanted to keep her with the win.
Well, I think I think it was part of it was probably trying to make Lana seem like a legitimate, competitor in the ring. So the talk of the announcers trying to make her, seem like she was putting on a really impressive performance, and then Naomi not necessarily beating her straight up cleanly was designed right to kind of put some legitimacy behind Lana as an in-ring competitor, and even in her second match on the card. So I think if you have her get squashed right away, then she really has no legs or future in terms of using her going forward. So I think that's why they did those things.
I guess in that kind of situation, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You throw an unknown contender into a title match, and you want to keep her strong. You kind of screwed both ways, really.
Yeah, I mean they made the decision for whatever reason to put her in the title match here. So that was for whatever reason they decided to do that. They wanted to make sure that they had a women's championship match on the card, and maybe just specifically to do the tease of the Carmella cash-in, the briefcase in the middle. Maybe that was the reason why. But they put Lana in this position. I mean, she obviously has just been doing some work in NXT or on house shows to try to improve her in-ring work. And she did okay. I mean, it wasn't a great match. It wasn't really even like a good match, but it wasn't horrible. There wasn't a lot of blown spots or anything. This obviously Lana still needs some polishing and has a lot of things she can do to improve. But considering she hadn't really wrestled very much, I mean, they went a little under 8 minutes. And the Carmella thing was there at the end to kind of probably build some tension between her and Naomi. I'm sure Lana is not a long-term solution for them in a championship feud. They're just kind of plugging her in now while the other women in the division fight over the briefcase. So I think, it was what it was. I wasn't expecting much from it, and it just kind of was okay, and it was there, and that's fine.
Next, Jinder Mahal champion versus Randy Orton for the WWE title. I like this match a lot better than their last match. I think people bought more into Jinder as a strong, heel, as a strong champion. And, he definitely took it to Randy Orton for a lot of the time. I thought this match was really well done. It went pretty long, but there was a lot of, what's a good word for what happened towards the end? Shenanigans? My other question was, I didn't know that match was a no count out. Did you?
No, I don't think it was no count.
No, Randy Orton was outside for like 3 minutes at the end of that match with all the, with what he's doing to each of the Singh brothers, which I guess you could chalk up to, and I wouldn't have a problem with it as long as the announcers would use the term like referee's discretion, or they said something along the lines of other organizations do that. New Japan does it, Ring of Honor does it. They say, oh, it's a championship match, they're kind of letting him go, or it's a referee's discretion, he doesn't want to end it on a count out. That's fine, but I just need that conveyed in the commentary, because Randy Orton was out there forever. He RKO'd every single Singh brother, Tiger Jeet Singh, I think, through a table, and he tossed the one dude and tossed the other one because they got in the face of his dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. So, but aside from that, the finish was, nobody kicked out of, what does he call it, Jinder's finisher?
The Colossus, or something like that.
The Colossus, okay. Yeah, so nobody kicks out of the Colossus, apparently, which is cool. I like that Jinder got the pin on one finisher.
The main thing I didn't really like about this was that it seemed like almost a carbon copy of what happened the month before at the end. There was all of the craziness outside the ring, and Orton was beating up on the Singh brothers, and he went back in the ring and got hit with Jinder's finisher and then lost the title. And then the same thing kind of happened here, right? The only difference was that they had the legends in St. Louis at ringside, and obviously Orton's father was there. That was the only difference as far as this match, but it was almost a carbon copy, right? He beat up the Singh brothers, he put one of them through a table, or threw one of them on a table, he rolls back in the ring, and Jinder's dead, hit him with his finisher and pin him. That's the only thing to me. There wasn't really much creativity between the two. It was very, very similar to the month before. And now we have to look forward to a probable Punjabi prison match or something next month. So I don't know how good that's going to go.
For real?
Yeah. I don't know how well that's going to go, but
oh, sweet Christmas!
So that's the thing. I mean, I don't have.
Sucks.
I don't know. It just
everything sucks.
I'd like for them to get a little bit more creative with their finishes here with this stuff, but again, it was what it was. I mean, if you're at this, I didn't expect anything classic out of Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton in the title match. And that's what they delivered. You
know what? I think why I like this match better is because the crowd was more involved in this match. But I also like how this is the first time I can remember in quite some time where the bad guy was the bad guy and the good guy was the good guy. There was clear heel and face, heel does bad stuff, and he cheats to win. It was very clear. The fans were chanting for the right guys, and I think maybe that's why I liked it a little bit better.
It was in Orton's hometown, right? So I think that was a big factor in it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's Orton's hometown, but half of the guys that were outside, weren't they not from St. Louis? They kept saying they're hometown guys. Ric Flair's not from St. Louis.
I don't know if they were hometown guys or not necessarily, but
I thought that was
some of them might have been. I don't know. I know. I can't remember who it is.
Baron von Raschke.
Well, I think Race, right, is one of the guys from there, but he wasn't even there, right, because he's hurt. But I think some of them guys were, and they probably just had some other legends in there, like Slaughter and Flair, just to add to it, so that they had a bunch of people there. I mean, it's fine.
There was a cool little segment with Breezango. When did Tyler Breeze get beat up? That was on SmackDown, right? When he got jumped?
Yeah. Did you do the sketch of the stick figures?
Yeah, I love Breezango. Absolutely cracks me up. I think those guys are doing an amazing job. So Tyler Breeze got jumped on SmackDown, and they were going to find out who jumped him at the pay-per-view, which is eerily similar to Raw. I mean, with the whole, but it is what it is. So it turns out it was Connor and Victor of the Ascension, which is fine. But then you have Breezango squash him in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. I understand you want to keep Breezango strong and give him a win, but this could have been something that could have drawn out a little more and maybe gotten the Ascension a little more notoriety. I don't know. But they had a good match for the 4-minute sprint it was. And but Breezango, they slay me. They definitely are. They're making the best out of their situation.
Yeah, they're definitely entertaining. I think it's good for them. I mean, I like both of them as in-ring wrestlers or just competitors in general. So I'm glad that they're at least getting some more time, and they're actually now winning a few matches and not being treated like a joke. The Ascension are kind of just they were dead on arrival. They didn't really. I don't even know why they're still around, to be honest, at this point. So I think.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't know. What are they doing? What's their value? What are they bringing to the table? These guys have not done. They've done literally nothing since they've been to the main roster. They're just basically there to be job guys. Which is, I mean, you can have guys that are there for that, and it's fine. That's what this match was, right? They wanted to give Breezango a win, so they did. I don't take them too seriously at this point. So
I just wish they would bring up Ty Dillinger.
Yep, he was filming commercials, I think, with Sami Zayn. That's what I saw.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Speaking of that, I guess we had the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So it was AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Baron Corbin. Match went close to a half an hour. It was the main event of the show. Probably the best match on the show compared to everything else that they had going on. And Baron Corbin won the briefcase at just under 30 minutes. So now he has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he'll be able to cash that in for a title opportunity whenever he chooses. He already started teasing that a little bit on SmackDown with Jinder Mahal, but I'm not sure that he's going to be doing it anytime soon. But he did get the win here. I think we had narrowed it down, I think, to him or Styles with the possibilities, right? As far as guys that we could take. So I'm not surprised that he won. They seem to want to push him as a top-level heel on the show. And I'm going to gather he's going to hold on to it for a little while, at least until Jinder loses the title. So I think he'll
maybe a SummerSlam cash in, possibly.